Let's take a couple of our online questions. The first comes from Marge, who says, "Thank you for all of your work for we the people. Will Republican alternatives to Obamacare be considered in the Senate? It seems Harry Reid is shutting down the process of the Senate."
Marge, I agree with you. Harry Reid is shutting down the process of the Senate. It's interesting, Marge, in the last few months, in fact, since July of 2013, we've had a sum total of 4 roll call votes on amendments to bills passing through the Senate that have been introduced by Republicans. Only 4 amendments. Ordinarily, in this time frame, you could expect to see dozens, scores, or even hundreds of amendments voted on, regardless of which party submitted them. But Harry Reid has refused to allow amendments to almost every bill, and this is why it's such a big problem. It's also one of the reasons why it's been difficult to find legislation through which we can amend or repeal or undo Obamacare. He's made that very, very difficult. He's gone to great lengths to protect this law that has cost Utahns and Americans many jobs, has caused them to have their wages cut, has caused them to have their hours slashed, has caused them to lose access to health coverage, has caused their premiums to spike, their deductibles to soar, and in many instances to lose access to doctors, trusted healthcare professionals that they and their families have come to rely on and trust over the course of many decades. This is really sad. As this law continues to get worse, the cry from the American people for relief will become even greater. It's difficult to predict at this point, Marge, whether this year we'll be able to pass something to replace it. But what we do know is that we do have to replace it, and we've got to replace it with something that will reintroduce free market principles into our healthcare system. This is the only way that we will make sure that the free market principles will apply, that competition forces will rush in so as to create downward pressure on prices within healthcare. That'll put you back in charge of your own healthcare decisions, rather than having those decisions made, quite unfortunately, by government bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. This is all part of the American dream, and that's why I introduced in the last Congress my Saving the American Dream package. That package would have replaced Obamacare with a free market system in which Americans could have used tax credits to purchase health insurance on the free market. Any Republican proposal that moves forward will, I predict, be based on that. The House Republican Study Committee has introduced one legislative solution to this. My friend Representative Paul Ryan, the congressman from Wisconsin, will be introducing some other legislation later this year. I look forward to reviewing each of those features, each of those bills, and I think ultimately the Republican Party will get behind one healthcare reform plan. Right now we need 10 or we need 20. We need as many as we can get so that we can come up with the best ideas and move forward ultimately with one of them.